So I found this interesting that investor Warren Buffett, he doesn't let the headlines affect his investment choices. As a matter of fact, he says, I don't think I can make money by predicting what's going on the next week or month. But I do think I can make money by predicting what's going to happen in the next 10 years. So do you guys agree with this? Is this a pretty good, long view look at investing?
Yeah, I think Warren and I went to the same stock picking school together, and Ryan, we went to the same stock picking school because what Warren didn't tell you is that they actually give you a crystal ball coming out of stock picking school, and like Warren, I guess his got dropped. I brought my kids to work one day, and they were playing with it, and it dropped on the ground. So now it's just yes, no, maybe. But absolutely, the idea that anybody knows what exactly is going to happen in the market on any given day. It's always amazing when you listen to the reason why the stock market went up or when the stock market went down. You're always hearing the stock market went up today because something related to oil. The stock market went down because it was related to oil. So on Monday, oil prices came down, so stock market went up. But on Tuesday, oil prices went up, so stock market went down. And it's literally the same dollar, right? It went up $1, it went down $1, and the market reacts crazy. And people come in, especially as of late. I mean, obviously there's a lot of turmoil going on now. People are very concerned about what exactly is the election going to look like. And, if you lean left, you lean right. At the end of the day, I've said it over and over again, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I don't care which direction you lean politically. The fact is that if you're a Republican, when you're in control, you spend like drunken sailors and the Democrats piss and moan about it. And if you're a Democrat, when you're in power, you spend like drunken sailors and the Republicans piss and moan about it. I mean, either way, they're not good stewards with their money. If you think about this, George II, right? George II put, better part of $7 trillion on the deficit. Obama put $8 trillion on the deficit. They did it in 8 years each. Trump put $6 trillion in 4 years. I have all the confidence in the world that Biden's going to put $5 to $10 trillion on it over his 4 or 10 year or 8 year tenure, whatever it turns out to be. Either way, they are poor stewards with our money. And from our perspective, we should stop giving it to them, which is why we're big proponents of tax planning. But more to your point, Warren Buffett's point, the fact is that you're right. We can't determine exactly where the stock market's going to be. So for our perspective, for the money that you need to live on, why have to worry about that speculation? Why worry about, now we're getting the people that come into the office like, well, I want to put all my money in gold and precious metals. And our response to it's like, well, maybe toilet paper, guns, bullets, and water might be a better place than, if you think the world's going to fall apart. But
because you're going to need to protect the gold, right?
Right. You're going to need it. And who wants to buy who wants a bunch of gold? If it comes to that point, I want water and toilet paper. I'm a princess and I want some future comforts. The idea of using a leaf is not on my priority list. But the reality is, everybody that comes in, everybody that sits down, everybody that's worked 20 and 30 and 40 years, you all have the same goal in mind, that the money that you have saved, right? And I don't care, wealth is all relative. We hear, high net worth individuals and rich people. We hear that terminology, but wealth is really, that's a personal number, right? If you grew up dirt poor and you have $100,000, that's a big number. If you grew up in middle class and you have $1 million, that's a big number. But the reality is that everybody who has worked, everybody who has saved, everybody who has made smart choices along the way, they did it specifically so that they would have the retirement that they envisioned, right? They did it in such a way that they wanted to make sure they had enough money to get through retirement. And if you're finding yourself in that spot where you're thinking, do I have enough money to get through retirement? If you are worried that this election year is going to cause ripples in your retirement plan, sit down with Ryan and myself on our team, and we will show you how to create income streams that you will never outlive. We will talk to you about how much you're paying in fees, the risk you're taking. We'll talk to you about long-term care, estate planning, taxes. You can go to our website, and right there up on the column up top, right on the bar up top, there's a little place that says contact us, set an appointment. We will sit down with you. We'll do an income plan for you. We'll do a tax plan. We'll talk to you about Social Security.
And the beautiful thing about that at thesavvyinvestorradio.com, again, thesavvyinvestorradio.com, when you go, like Mike said, you click on whether it's the 401k X-ray or the income analyzer, you can basically go on to their calendar. their calendar where it's live, and you can pick a time that's going to work best for you. That's available for them. It's very easy, and it's no obligation. A 15-minute phone conversation with Mike, with Ryan, with Lawrence, with the team at Prostatis, the very same guys, the very same team that you're listening to on the radio right now. Again, that's the SavvyInvestorRadio.com. Ryan, we talked about Warren Buffett, that he says he doesn't make money or investment advice based on a week or a month, but more 10 years. You guys aren't also saying just leave your money in this place and don't do anything. I think you have to be active and take a tactical approach at investing, correct? You don't just set it and forget it.
Right. It's not a buy and hold strategy. And I think it's kind of ironic at this point that Warren Buffett talks about 10 years when he's 93 years old. So, I would say that his time horizon for the money is significantly shorter, but, it really is, all of the volatility. There's always volatility in the market. There's always unease going on somewhere in the world. So there's always going to be that worry of, is my money in the right place? Is it working as best as it can for me now? Am I going to have enough in retirement? And then how do I really make it last in retirement? And just last week, I was sitting down in our Towson office with a client of mine, Mike, and we were talking. He came from the radio show. He heard Mike and I on the radio show, and he heard us talking about creating income streams that you can't outlive, that are unaffected by the overall stock market. And so we were sitting down, we were discussing how much income he and his wife needed to have to live on for the rest of their life. And between the two of them, they had saved about $1.5 million in their various 401ks and retirement accounts. And I was sitting down with the two of them and showing them, you want to have this $120,000 a month. Well,
$120,000 a month,
$120,000 a year. My mistake. They wanted to have $120,000 a year of income during retirement. And we were sitting down and I was showing them, we can use the overall stock market. You can take just the generic financial advisor approach, have your money out there in the stock market, need to earn 5 to 6% on your money, and you can have your $120,000 a year. Of their $1.5 million nest egg, that was going to take about $1.4 million of what they had. So $1.4 million was all dedicated to the income side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And they only had $100,000 extra. And they still had all the headaches of the market of worrying about, is Putin going to do this? Who's going to win the election? What's going on in Ukraine? What's going on over in the Middle East? They still had all that worry. And then we showed them, let's take all that uneasiness out of the market. Let's get a guaranteed income stream for you in retirement. Something that says, no matter what happens in the stock market, no matter what happens in the economy, you're going to have the income that you're going to need for the rest of your life. Let's take this $1.5 million and set it up so that we're going to have our $120,000 a year. And so instead of taking 1.4 million of his 1.5, we ended up using about $560,000 of that 1.5 million and put it into a vehicle that said, no matter what happens, by the time we reach 2030, because that was when they wanted to retire, that's when they wanted to turn the income stream on, it's going to give you the income you need so that between your Social Security, your pension, and your investments, you're going to have $120,000 a year of after-tax money.
adjusted for inflation.
Adjusted for inflation, and that was factoring in the taxes. But then on top of that, I went back and said, all right, now that we've made sure we've used $560,000 of your $1.5 million, and you're never going to run out of money in retirement because of the way we're doing this. Let's look at a tax efficient approach to this. Let's start doing Roth conversions on all this $1.5 million. So that way, by the time we get to your age 75, they were 64 and 63. By the time we get to age 65, you're now bringing in that same $120,000 a year, but you're doing it at 0% taxes.